Oh hey, welcome to my 30-day sketchbook challenge. Today we're doing a live video. I'm going to be doing some comparison swatching to see if I actually like Turner better than Winsor and Newton Cotman, or if I'm just going to have to kind of juggle between the two of them until I'm really willing to spend money on watercolors, which is not right now. Yes, I've bought some Daniel Smiths, but I can't really justify building a whole palette off of that because they're just too expensive. So I'm going to do some swatching here. We're going to start with Winsor and Newton Payne's Gray and Turner Payne's Gray. I'm just going to show them on screen and then I'll do the swatch comparison and test them out. I can't go up close because I'm on a manual zoom. That's one of the pain points I'm having with filming, is just every time I move my hand on screen, the autofocus, it makes a mess of things and I can't deal with it. So manual, and we're gonna stick with one zoom level and or one focus point, and then we're not gonna move it. So I'll put these on screen if you can't see them, but yeah, so that's Payne's Gray, Winsor Newton Cotman, and Turner, and we're gonna see what these are like. This is the Cotman here. I'm not sure, like, there's some colors that are better than others for the Turner, but I think the Cotmans are still good. It's just, sometimes I want to just see what else is out there. I'm not sure if I'm fully committing to like a complete palette change or like swapping all the colors out. I kind of like this Payne's Gray. It's not bad. It moves nicely, which is kind of a thing that I like. However, it is hard to control. So when you're doing specific things like landscapes or portraits, it can be a bit tricky as I'm learning. But anyway, it's something to consider. I like it when they move more. I think most people do prefer that. I'm going straight from the tube here. Sorry, I should say that. And then kind of pulling it down with some water. I think most people like their paints to move a bit rather than just sitting around and not moving, because that's kind of part of the whole fun of watercolor, I think. So they should move a little bit, because if they don't, then you just end up overworking. So this is pretty rich in comparison, and it's very blue. I'm not sure what pigments are in it. This isn't like an expert watercolor video where I know about pigments and talk about pigments. I don't know. So I don't know if this even tells you on here. You might have to, I feel like we'd have to go on their website and figure that out, but it is definitely quite blue in comparison to the Cotman. So interesting. I like both, but this kind of feels like indigo, which we're gonna do next. I don't have a Turner indigo. I have my old school Cotman that's almost running out. I really like indigo. It's one of my favorite colors. And then I decided to try the Pro. So let's give that a whirl. I'm going to start with the Cotman here. And yeah, I'm just starting with the blues. I have a lot of blues in my palette. And so I'm trying to grab some greens and other things to balance out. I did buy a green today that we're going to swatch here that did not turn out well, and I want to return it, but I can't. So a little bit annoyed at that. Not a good vibe, but that's whatever. It is what it is, I guess. That was like $8 down the drain. Hopefully it'll turn out better later, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. It was really oily and messed up, so I think it was old and gross, and I can't really salvage it, which sucks. But here is the Cotman Indigo, which, not bad, you know, it's whatever. It doesn't, oh, sorry, I just bumped the table. Ugh, and now I've got a notification on my phone. Apologies for that. But it sometimes the notifications will just completely stop the filming, which is like a devastating thing because you don't notice it when you're working on your art, and it's like, and then you realize you don't have the footage that you were supposed to. Anyway, moving on. So here's the Pro. I've used both. I've used the Pro already, and it's quite nice. it just looks beautiful once it's dry, I guess is the word I'm looking for and failing. It's really nice. It's a really nice color, and it moves nicely and does all the things that you want watercolor to do. It's lovely. Very intense, very dark compared to the Cotman, which I like. I prefer like deep dark colors like this instead of this kind of weak, you know, trailing off and weak and kind of whatever. Because you can always lighten and make these lighter, but you can't really, it's hard to make these darker, I guess. I don't know. I like strong colors is essentially what I'm saying. That's just for my thing. So that is the Indigo. The Pro is really nice. The Cotman is okay, but I kind of wanted to replace that one a lot, so I'm probably going to be replacing it with the Pro. I kind of ruined this swatch. It's going to be all dumb, but you never want to go back in and mess with it afterwards. Anyways, let's move on to Viridian. So we have Viridian Cotman. This is like a Viridian hue, so I think that means there's like filler in it. And this is the Turner Viridian. We're going to see how these stack up. I was hoping, I don't know, to find like a cheaper replacement. The Cotmans are okay, but I like that the Turner comes with more paint. This is, what is this? Is it 14? 15 milliliter, whereas these are 8. This is better than the Pro, which is like 5 milliliter. I can't stand how little paint that is. But, you know, I was hoping that the Turner would replace the Cotman, but I've been having hit and miss results. And that might just be because the store that I'm going to just does not have like new stock. And so I don't know if they replace the stock on that very frequently, so it might be that it's just like old and crappy, because I've had 2 experiences now where the tubes were not great and I had to like go back to the store. That's how I got my Turner maroon color. I really like this color, but I was going for a different one. I can't remember the name of the one I was trying to get, but I opened it and it was dry. I had to go right back to the store, and they were like, okay, well, you can just grab another one, or you can go to... And they were like, actually what happened was the guy was going to give me another one, but there was like 6 of them or something, and they were all crap. And we were like, oh, this is weird. They were all dried out. So he was like, okay, well, we can like send you to the other location, or you can pick another color, like whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And one of the guys in the store like tested out, like he just cracked it open, like he cut one open just to see if it would work, just to show me the color. And I was like, I really appreciated that, because I wanted to see if I wanted to grab another color or go to another location for the same color. So essentially I didn't even like the color that it was, so I ended up going with Turner Maroon, which I love. So a little story time aside, this is the Cotman Viridian Hue. Again, similar to the other Cotmans, it like starts off strong, but then when you try to add water, it's just very kind of weak and transparent and not very exciting. So, you know, it works, but it's not quite as nice as even the Turner Payne's Gray. Like, I kind of like that a little better here. And then, of course, the Pro Indigo is, like, dreamy. Like, it dries so nice. Like, it's smooth, and, like, I really like that one. Too bad it's a Pro and really expensive. This one is very borderlining on too dry as well, and I'm really nervous that I'm not gonna be able to use it before it gets crappy. Like, I just had to... Anyway. Like, you can see what a struggle this is, because it's like... I shouldn't be using this one straight out of the tube. That's what that means. It's like I should be putting it into a pan and then spritzing it as opposed to doing it like this, because this is crazy, but that's okay. So this is the Turner Viridian. So it's pretty similar, actually. In fact, the Cotman, in my opinion, is quite a bit more vibrant, which I like. I really like vibrancy. I don't know if that's something common with new watercolor artists, but I like brightness and funky colors. So, you know, the kind of colors that you need to have, like the burnt umbers and siennas and whatever, I find boring, but I have them, and we're gonna go to those next. So, burnt sienna. I'm almost out of my Cotman because I've done a lot of portraits, and so I use a lot of this. They look really different just in terms of the graphic representation, so that's interesting. The colors are very similar though, so I don't know. I mean, this is more close to what it looks like. The Turner is just kind of not, which is, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes they're pretty accurate and sometimes they're not as accurate on the tube. So here's the Cotman. And some of these straight out of the tube are just not a good vibe, and you really have to work at it. That's okay. It's a little awkward. Some of them are oily, and there's all sorts of weird characteristics, especially with the Turners and some of the Cotmans. But here we go with the Cotman burnt sienna. So it's relatively, you know, decent. It's just a color for like skin tones for me. Like I don't use it for anything else. So it's not bad, you know. I'm probably going to just use this in full and then switch to this Turner and see how we go. I really thought I could just swap the Turner in, but some of these just don't work as well. Or I like the color of the Cotman better, so it's kind of, you know, live and learn, I guess. I don't know if I'm gonna keep going with watercolor to the point where I buy any more or anything, because I'm kind of just at the point where I thought I was going to replace my palette with Turner, but it's not working out as I thought, so maybe there's another brand, I don't know. But right now I don't want to really keep spending money. They keep saying that and then doing it, and it's like, you know. Yeah, I think the Cotman on this is actually maybe better. Some of the Turners are a bit oily and not movie. Like this one, it's okay, but it just didn't really meh. So it might be different out of the tube, I'm not sure. So next is the burnt umber. I'm really close to being finished with the Winsor and Newton here, which is great. It's nice to actually finish something and not just, you know, buy another to replace it and then have it sit in a drawer, because that is kind of what's happening with some of my Cotmans, because I just have a lot of redundancy colors that I didn't really realize that were redundant until now, and so on and so forth. So there will be some donating going on as I clean up what I've got and figure out what I like and keep and so on and so forth. After this challenge, I'm not sure how much more watercolor I'm going to be doing. I'm sure I'll do it from time to time, but it might be less frequent, obviously, because I want to get to my shot prep after this. I'm really itching to get my stickers and prints started. Well, not started, but like continued. So that was the burnt umber Cotman. And now let's look at the Turner. I really like the packaging of the Turner. Like I like this like long neck that they come with. Some of the tubes that you buy are really odd, like they just induce panic and anxiety. Like the Daniel Smith, a bunch of them that I got were like spilling when I opened it, and that is just awful, especially when it's like the 5 milliliter and like, you know, a centimeter just comes spewing out when you open it. It's like, I don't know what causes that, but it's kind of nuts and scary. So here's the burnt umber Turner. It's a little, I don't know, it's very similar, this one, very similar. I think it traveled a little nicer. They do tend to be more textured. I don't know if that's granulation or not, I guess. I'm just trying to blow little bits of paint off of here. I'm not a fan of granulation, like, at all. I think I'm quick quickly realizing that this kind of vibe I love, and this not so much. This Payne's Gray is great. I'm just realizing my nail polish came off already. I did this yesterday. Anyway, not a fan of the heavy granulation. It's really bad for what the kinds of things I'm doing are, like very precise landscapes and character stuff. Like, you just, I don't know. There's certain times when I guess that's okay. Like maybe if you're doing foliage and like roughage and ground and dirt and that kind of thing, it's cool. I think you could get some cool effects, but when you're trying to do smooth surfaces or just like puffy, cloudy sky or not glass, water, that kind of thing. I'm talking about stuff that I started next week already. Like I'm a week in advance. So I have a couple landscapes next week, and we did struggle with some granulation issues. So I'm gonna move into the two new ones that I bought recently. They're a little difficult. I don't think I'm gonna use this out of the tube. So this is Winsor and Newton. I said Newton. I don't usually say it like that. Winsor and Newton Cobalt Violet. And before I bought that, I spent a lot of time watching swatch sites to just decide on, because they're expensive. Like the Pro line is very expensive. So I wanted to really make sure I got something fun that I liked, that, was going to work the way I wanted. And this is an interesting one for me. It's kind of one of those ones that has that oily consistency. Like you can see, it's kind of weird. I am going from my pan here because it's just, the tube, it was too difficult because it's oily and screwy and I just couldn't deal with it. So here it is here. It's very transparent. And again, I think this is just another one of those things for me, nitpicks, that I like more opaque, deep colors as opposed to these really transparent colors, because I don't know. Right now, this is just the vibe that I'm after. It might change. I'm always open to experiment and play around, but at the moment, I prefer like really in-your-face colors. So when other people swatched it, it looked very different. I don't know if I just got like a specific tube. It was very oily, so it might be that all the pigment is kind of more at the bottom or whatever. I don't know. This one, we are really having a problem with. I opened it and like a tablespoon of oil came out. I kept squeezing. It was clear, bubbles, oil. Like I said, like almost a tablespoon, until a huge glob of the paint came out. And I was like, what the heck? So at this point, I have squeezed it in here. A disaster. More oil came out. More paint, more oil, more nonsense. So that I'm way over filled this pan. It's ridiculous. And it's oily and it's awful. So this color is called Terra Verde hue, which I know, again, hues tend to have a lot of filler and nonsense, which I think is what's going on with this one. So yikes. Not a good look for Turner on this one. I'm very irritated by this color. Also, it's like an olive. The tube, this is, again, the tube representation is just not really matching the paint in this scenario, because see how oily it is? Like, it just, I hate the way this paint works. Oh my god, I'm so annoyed that it's like in my, like, look at this. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with it. It's awful. Like, literally awful. It's coming off in globs. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't move. It's like I have to just peck at it. It's not a bad color. It's kind of like a nice muted olivey color, but I was expecting like a cute teal. Like that's what this looks like to me. I'm not familiar with Terra Verde. I don't know if that's like a common color, but this is not what I was expecting, so not happy. This was like $8 down the drain, and I don't think I can take it back to the store now because I've squeezed all of it out, like trying to salvage it. It's just really hard color to get working. So it's unfortunate. Like I keep wanting to try again to see if I can get it to like do something. I don't know. Like I don't know how to work with like this. It doesn't even feel like watercolor to me. Like it feels like some kind of weird oil paint, or I don't know. Not a good look. Not a good look. Like it's bleh. I can't make that look good. I can't make that look good. So that's our swatching today. So I'll just get into my quick disclosures here. If you found me through this challenge, I also do digital art, as well as I'm building a print shop business, so you will also see that kind of content on the channel. As well, I will be returning to uploading once a week every Friday once the challenge is over. And if you're liking watching me bumble through watercolor, make sure to hit that like button. If you want to follow along and tune in, maybe consider subscribing. And if you want to draw along, please do, and let me know in the comments. Also, if you have any art supply tips or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one next week on Monday. Bye!